brought to you by WikiVidi.com. Robert Millar. Philippa York is a Scottish journalist and former professional road racing cyclist. Competing as Robert Millar, York has been one of Britain's most successful cyclists of all time. He won the King of the Mountains competition in the 1984 Tour de France and finished fourth overall. York was the first rider from an English-speaking country to have won the mountains classification in the Tour de France. This success was the first time a British rider won a major Tour classification, and was unsurpassed as the highest Tour finish for a Briton for over 20 years, until Bradley Wiggins was retrospectively placed third in the 2009 Tour de France. She rode the Tour de France 11 times, completing the race 8 times. York also achieved the highest finish by a Briton in the Giro d'Italia, finishing second in 1987, and also winning the King of the Mountains classification. As well as the Giro second-place finish, she finished second in 2 other Grand Tours, the 1985 and 1986 Vuelta a España. Her second place at the 1985 Vuelta came after losing the leader's jersey on the penultimate stage, in what is widely thought to be collusion by the Spanish-speaking teams. Further victories came at the 1985 Volta a Catalunya, the 1989 Tour of Britain and the 1990 Dauphiné Libéré. After retiring, York moved into journalism, as well as spending a year as a coach for British cycling. She reduced her public commitments in 2000 following hostile stories regarding rumours of her gender transition, and after an appearance as Millar at the 2002 Commonwealth Games left public life altogether. In the 2010s, having transitioned to living as York, she returned to journalism, publishing under the name of Robert Millar until a decision to appear on TV commentary led to her revealing her transition publicly in 2017. Early life and amateur career. York was born and raised in Glasgow, Scotland, as Robert Millar. At one time destined for a career as a factory engineer, York attended Shawlands Academy in the south of the city. In 2017, York revealed that she had first felt different, aged 5, but was unaware that this difference came from discomfort with her gender. She initially began riding for Glenmarnock Wheelers Cycling Club, and quickly established herself as a leading amateur road racing rider. As Robert Millar, she was a relatively small man, meaning she had comparatively less weight to carry uphill. It was as a specialist hill and mountain cyclist that she was to excel. She won the Scottish Junior title in 1976 and was Scottish Hill Climb champion the following year. In 1978, York established herself on the British scene. She was 21st in the Milk Race, and won the British Amateur Road Race Championship. She moved to France in 1979 to join the ACBB, one of Europe's top amateur teams. York was as ever focused, and quickly began winning races such as the Grand Prix de la Ville de Lillas. This success brought her the admiration of his ACBB manager Claude Escalon. In 1980, after retaining her British Road title, taking 4th place in the World Amateur Road Championship, claiming 5 wins in France, and winning the French Best Amateur trophy, she turned professional for the Peugeot cycling team, and as a climbing specialist focused on single-day road races and stage races in hilly and mountainous terrain. York was happy to travel abroad, and wasn't homesick. As Millar, she married a French woman, and lived with her in France. 1980–1982, early years. York's 1980 debut pro season included second in the Tour du Vaucluse to Stephen Rook's and 8th in a race in which she would finish in the top 10 overall in her career 7 times. The Tour de Romandie. Returning home for the UK National Championship, she finished 5th. In 1981 she improved 1 place on the year before with her 7th place in the Tour de Romandie. 1981 was her first prominent finish in another race in which she would again consistently impress. The Dauphiné Libéré. York finished 7th as per the Tour de Romandie, and was the first of 6 occasions in which she would end the Dauphiné in the top 10 in the general classification. 1982 saw York again finish 7th in the Tour de Romandie. In the second year of the Under-23 Tour de l'Avenir being open to professionals, York finished 2nd to Greg LeMond. 1983 Tour de France debut. In 1983 York came 2nd in the Dauphiné with LeMond again finishing a place above her. With her impressive June showing in the Dauphiné, York was selected for the Tour de France. For the first time, any hopes of a high placing in the Tour general classification ended on stage 3, when she crashed, losing 17 minutes. The 11th of July was that year's Tour first mountainous race, crossing the Orbisque, Tourmalet, Aspin, and Pays-Resort in the Pyrenees on stage 10, the only Pyrenean stage of the Tour. York won the day 6 seconds ahead of Pedro Delgado. York finished 14th overall, 23 minutes behind the winner, Laurent Fignon, and sandwiched in between 2 riders who would figure prominently in her career. Stephen Roche in 13th and Delgado in 15th. York's debut Grand Tour gave her 3rd in the mountains classification, 1 place above Delgado like in the general classification, with Lucien Van Impe taking the polka-dot jersey. Thank you for watching. Brought to you by WikiVidi.com. Please like and subscribe below. Please like and subscribe below.